Welcome back to Backroomconvos. I'm your host with the most, Lesego M, Daddy Pod, aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. I am very excited, guys. I've healed, I'm better, I'm feeling good today. There's a lot to talk about, to unpack on the show. Going to speak about the ICC case that South Africa filed in the genocide case, which South Africa filed with the ICC of genocide against Israel, and how we stand with the Palestine, with the issue going on in Gaza for people who don't know what's going on. So we'll touch on that later on though. But for now, I want us to talk about the song of the day. The song of the day is by Them Tudor, which was on the album Ace of Spades Reshuffle, which was released 2021. The song is John Wick by Them Tudor, and the song is 6 minutes 56 seconds long and currently sits at 6.8 million on Spotify. So it features people like the musical chef, who is an amazing artist, and Trill. We all know. Trill. I almost got carried away. I am getting carried away. I'm going off topic. What's with the BAPHOMET chain on people like Trill? I also saw Young STUNNA has the same chain as Trill. Why, guys? What's going on? Are they selling this? So I feel like I'll talk about this, and I don't want to waste any time on this. I feel like maybe they are a part of the BAPHOMET, or a part of the what do they call those people who are part of the society, the secret society, who are part of the, I forgot the actual name, what they call the name of those people. So they're part of the secret society, and this is what they do to represent, there's a lot of theories around Beyonce and Jay-Z and people like Puff, them being a part of the secret society. I remember even T-Pain when T-Pain was still popping, when he was still like, what's your name? I don't know. That T-Pain, when he was still the T-Pain, they also accused him of being a part of that, and the Rockefeller signs that Jay-Z's blowing in the air and saying we had the Road Boys and everything, and he's never came out and actually agreed with or actually concurred with everyone to say, yeah, I'm a part of the secret society and I am this A, B, and C. He's never came out and actually said that. So I'm like, at this point, everything about, we will also talk about Diddy. For those of you wondering, we will talk about Diddy even on the podcast later on. For people who are wondering, why not just put the rumors to rest and say, no, I'm not a part of that, or yes, I am a part of that. So it stops people with all these wildest theories that are coming out to say this and this, the secret society, the Epstein list that came out. There's just a lot of things that are just coming out. And maybe it's a calculated move to say we're not doing this, or because we need people to keep on talking about us, or it might be from a PR standpoint, or there's no value for us to clear, let people talk. Maybe it might be there, So, but I'm with people like STUNNA, people like Trill, what's the story? Do we want them to talk or to be added on the conversation of the BAPHOMET? To say we are part of the team, or we are part of the secret society, we are part of the money gang. And someone was saying with the private society, they kill, the Freemasons kill, so you're saying that, someone was saying this, Mporagada, who also has a political party, was saying that to Penyo the other day on the episode they were having. I just saw a snippet, and he was like, the Freemasons kill. And he says, also the Zulu people also kill. So you rather speak, or you can't come here and pick sides. That's the thing that I got from Penyo, But that's besides the point. I'm talking about these two. I'm like, what's the deal? Are they part of that? And if they are, how many other people or artists or creators or content creators or influencers that are there in South Africa that are part of that? Is China a part of it? You know what I mean? Is Tusongate a part of it? Is Nomzamo Mbata a part of it? Because even the picture that came out of Nomzamo Mbata, I'm so sorry about that, my apologies, that came out of Nomzamo Mbata sharing the Christmas with Oprah Winfrey, and they were saying, Nomzamo has joined the gang. They were like, Nomzamo should join the gang. And I'm like, okay, like, just break it down to me, like, join the gang, or like, what's going on? There's just some things that, I feel like people who are supposed to say something or certain things about these things, they're not saying. Oprah hasn't come out and said, no, this is not true, or this is true. Even the Switzerland rumors, he took out 100 million and he was arrested in Switzerland, apparently, I don't know. People just make up these things because I'm sure, like, if the Freemasons own all the media in America. But this is my chair though. Like, if Oprah is not coming out, and like, how does this link to Jews? Like the Freemasons and the Jews, how does it link? Because on this hand, we say, like, the Jewish people, these are words from Kanye West. It's like all the Jewish media publications in America are owned by Jewish people. And if Oprah is a part of the Masons, and the reason everything he does is not a part of the public eye, is it the same guys that are there, or even those guys have bosses or people to answer to? Like, we can say, oh, the Rupert, they own, or they monopolize the space, or like in South Africa, they own everything wherever. And on top of that, we say even the Ruperts, they have people to answer to. Is it the case? Like, what's going on? Because there's just a lot that's going on, and I hate the fact that I'm one person who loves Beyonce, and there's just certain rumors that come, and I'm like, bro, I'm a fan of this person, and sometimes I don't take it well when people come out and say this about them, and I'm like, oh, okay, like, what's the point of this? Like, Beyonce, aren't you coming out and saying, like, I want to understand, like, the mindset behind how they think and how they see this, and if it's like some kind of a PR or run or something, let's talk about that. Like, I'm curious. I'm very curious. What are they? Because clearly they do see these things going on. I'm sure even TDC, like what people are saying, but even TD Jakes was saying, but they were calling him a power button, and I'm like, but he came out and spoke against it. So he came out. I'm saying, but as much as you see, he came out and spoke about it. Never ever after that did anyone speak about that. So I'm like, clearly this is the root, because he addressed it and it died down. Why isn't Jay-Z, Beyonce, and coming out like ish? It just fucks with me, bro. Is it true? Is it not? Please put it in the clear. You're not gonna lose, fam. You're not gonna lose. Or are you looking at like, the reason I say that? Well, I know Doja Cat lost a bit of fans for the I Paint the Town rape. I just said what I said. I made the picture, did that. I know he lost a lot of, not a lot, but he lost some following because of the song. And I was like, well, Doja is so smart. He's like telling a story using that. It's very artistic. And for people to come out, and the fact that people can detach art from reality to say, this is one. And like, people who like look at influencers, and someone was making an example with Kwenza and Babalo and saying, these people are content creators, they make content, they don't date in real life. And when you bash Babalo, when you see him with some men in public, and you're like, you're cheating on Kwenza. Even in movies, there's also that. And like, no guys, it's content, But I'm like, again, you can't expect people to just say it's content when what you put out is so good, and they feel like I'm a part of this. And when you are ruining the moment for them, or the bubble they're living in, to say, when you are messing with everything, like, you can't. You can't. So I guess maybe that as well. I don't know how I got to this, but I just got lost. But saying that, with people can't just or detach that from that. I guess that's how I got to the Gwenza example, Gwenza and Pabano example. Like, people can't detach the artistic. Like, I'm not saying completely, because there is like an interlink somewhere, somehow, where art meets reality. But I'm saying there's certain places where you're like, but here you need to like read the fine line and the fine print to these people are not together. And as much as we watch movies which interpret some of it may be true, but it doesn't mean the actual people. You need to bring yourself to reality and step out and be logical. But this is what these people were trying to portray, or the story they were trying to tell behind these characters. But Denzel is not the same Denzel that you see in movies, or it's not. But you see, we love him regardless, you know what I mean? So I'm like, even with this situation with artists, they need to come out and say, I am this or I'm that. And going back to Doja Cat, he was saying, that shit was, eventually it came out because, people were saying, Doja this, Doja that, Mr. Mini, you must come back to you've lost your ways. I miss the old Doja. And failing to understand what it's art, and it's trying to tell a story with that, and people are not giving a hatchet. Well, rather the populace isn't giving it the ear to say, like, listen, this is, if you want me to be a messenger, sometimes I might communicate certain messages that you don't like, and using character or like portray characters to tell the story better, I must use this or be in this space because that's where this thing took me creatively, So sometimes I think like it may be that, and like people say, oh, he's emo, maybe that's why, like even them, they don't want to like speak on that to say it's pointless, it's stupid, but I want to know because now I'm a big fan, and like all these rumors tend to be bigger than, like I'm like compounded. They start to make me question, But that's my take, man. That's my take around all these people. I hope, but I think Trill also even came out and saying, guys, I'm just buying this chain because I like it. I think he said something like, I like it when he did the Insta Live. I like it. There's no biggie behind this. Why am I the only one being attacked when there's other artists who also happen to have the same chain, but I don't see you guys giving them a hard time about, purchasing the same chain that I have, So there's also that discussion that's going on. So I'm like, you cleared it fairly, but then you understand you can say one thing and do the other thing. There's just a lot, but it is what it is. You addressed it, but I just hope it's not what it is, the selling of souls. And, like people say a lot of things about selling souls, and I'm just curious on how it happens and what you need to give up, the sacrifices and how all those things would. I'm curious, guys. I'm very curious if you know a bit about these things, because I will tell you a bit of a story then. We'll tell you a bit of the story. When I grew up, okay, but it's happening. So when I was young, so church days, there were these kids. One I remember, now she's married, she has kids, and I haven't met her and we haven't spoken in a long time. So, they brought her to my grandmother because, church, like it was closer to being there in my grandmother's place when like church opens and you can just dress up and go there, speak to the pastor, or my grandmother goes there and relate the story to say like, this is happening, the mother couldn't be here, but I'm here, this is the story, boom, 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 can you please assist us or pray for this child, or whatever they do at church for healing, or like, I don't know, do they pray, or like, because I've never had demons, or like, so I don't know what they do for sure. I've never asked as I was young. I was too much of a to ask, but what happens, I wanted to know, because I remember one time we were asking here alongside my sisters and brothers in the room, because we used to have like a big room where our grandmother used to buy like all these double beds, and she used to be in like one of the double beds, and we were asking her, like, what's going on? Who's the queen? And she was like, Beyonce is the queen of the marine world. Boom, boom, boom. Now I'm like older, and I'm like, I'm in question with bitch. Did you just say what you just said? Tell us the truth. Like, and please tell me again. Now I have the mohodus on. Like, I have the mind to think and process and ask the right questions even. Tell me that story. Let's go through that story again and see if it adds up. And if there's something we're missing out, we are going to pinpoint it and you clarify for me and other 100 million people who don't understand, or 7 billion other people who don't understand in the world, right? So that's my take. I need that conversation to have that conversation with somebody else, So I'm keen on having that. If you know anybody, please comment in the comment section with the name of the person that you're suggesting. Obviously, they won't see it. So they won't see it. Should we make it live? The names of the people you must break. Or just say name. Just say name on the comment section. Just say name. We'll get to you. We'll text you. And you'll give us the name. We'll get the people and have a discussion hopefully on the podcast and talk about it. You know what I mean? Because there's just a lot happening. And I'm so sorry for those of you who spent for the 16 minutes of the episode talking about the BAPHOMET and like that, because there's just a lot of things that are going on and we couldn't even talk about what we had planned for today. But when we come back after the break, I'm so sorry for the filler word, but when we come back after the break, we will talk about some of the content that we planned for the day. For those of you who just join us on the podcast today on Backroomconvo. I'm your host with the most, the SAA report, aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Kyle. So the song of the day, as I wanted to say earlier on, the song of the day is by John Wick. The song of the day is John Wick by Intruder, which was on the album Ace of Spades Reshuffle, which was released 2021. The song is 6 minutes 56 seconds long and currently sits at 6.8 million on Spotify alone. An amazing song. There was another story in PTA about a guy who was killing gangsters by the name of John Wick. Apparently it was taken from the movie John Wick, and I also think this song has something to do with the John Wick movies, but that's besides the point. I'm your host with the most, the SAA report, aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. Let's meet after the break. Cheers. Welcome back to Backroomconvo. I'm your host with the most, the SAA report, aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. Listen, if you're a fan of sports, stay tuned because you might like what you're cooking. And on today's episode, I was talking about the BAPHOMET and Trill and people like Young STUNNA who were wearing those chains, and me having a lot of questions, curiosity, and wanting answer. I said, for those of you who do know people who have those kind of stories, and guys, they must be realistic. It must not be fairy tale stories. Yeah, so have those people on the comment section and just say me or here. Just say name. Yeah, just say name. We said name. We said name on the comment section. We'll try and no, we're not gonna try. We will contact you and you'll give us the name of the person and we'll try to hit them up. Or you can even tell them, listen, the podcast wants you on air for you to talk about the story that was happening, and hopefully we'll get some of the answers to the questions that we had as listeners and hosts, as I may have said. So the song of the day features people like the musical chef Trill and the man himself, the Intruder. So the song is John Wick, which was a part of the album the Intruder released in 2021 called the Ace of Spades Reshuffle. The song is 6 minutes 56 seconds long and currently sits at 6.8 million on Spotify alone. So do let me know what you think of the song. I'm your host with the most, the SAA report, aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. So moving right along, right? So this is what I was supposed to talk about yesterday, today, earlier on, and it didn't happen. So this is the content for yesterday, and I will release a second episode later on. I know I didn't release yesterday, I do apologize. So I will release another episode talking about the most current events that have been happening, including the Japan earthquake that happened and Barack Obama's music favorite songs list. We did Jay-Z, now we'll do Barack Obama, and Tyler's also a part of that. and there seems to be a discussion around Amapiano and Afrobeats that's going on the internet. We'll dissect that on the second, in the last episode of the day today. So yeah, to talk about that, yesterday we had Beyonce's song Freedom featuring Kendrick Lamar, which was the song of the day, which sits at 76 million on Spotify alone. We're supposed to have that, and the discussion after that was supposed to be about Big Sean, but because we couldn't, we'll just bring it and make it as if like this is common now. So Big Sean, I saw something on TMZ. TMZ was reporting this. Someone of TMZ caught up with Big Sean. And you remember there was a clip that was released. I don't know who released it. It was leaked. So where Kendrick was like spitting, and he was spitting. He was shitting on everybody. He was like, dissing everybody. Like Drake was being dissed there. Big Sean was one of the people who were being dissed. And like, let's just say all his peers were being dissed on that record. And I was listening to another interview, and one of the stable mates of Kendrick Lamar and close friends, A-Rock, was being interviewed by the Big Boy Neighborhood, for those of you who know, by DJ Scratch. So for those of you who know, so he was being interviewed by Big Boy. So Big Boy asked him, is the mixtape real? And he said, I don't know if it is real. He went hard. He said something just to confirm the mixtape is real. So, but the conclusion was like, J-Rock is Kendrick's friend, and they were in the same label. And if he says this, and he said that, like, he was confirming that was the this track, this track, he might have, insinuated because this is the diss track. It was the diss track, but it was never released. So nobody felt the need to respond. So a journalist, wanted to get Big Sean's response on the matter, because I don't think Kendrick has ever spoken about the diss track and how it got leaked, or if it's AI, and like fuck AI even, you can't just generate. There was content for days in that mixtape. So in that diss track, content for days. So nobody has ever been interviewed by them. Not Kendrick, not Big Sean, not Wale, not Big Creed, not, what are some of the names? Or who else is that? Who else was they mentioned? I'm not sure who else was mentioned there. T-Pain, was it not? Who's that nigga with the cornrows? The one who was beefing with Kendrick. I forgot who his name is. He was the president or the CEO that replaced Kanye, I forgot his name. But yeah, my point is, nobody spoke onto that shit. Nobody spoke. So I'm so sorry for profanity. I'm using a lot of those on my way. Try to limit that and hopefully take it out, eradicate it off my system. So Big Sean, they asked him, like, how did you feel about this track that Kendrick dropped? He was like, it's not real. And okay, because he said it's not real, and if it was real, he was gonna retaliate and release another, fight back. And I'm like, well, that might be just for publicity, but we all know that Kendrick has been taking shots at Big Sean, for the longest time. It's only now when the phone call that happened with one of like Kendrick's stable mates, and they said numbers, boom, boom, boom. They started talking about crushing a lot of things that they were saying and clarifying the air. But Kendrick has been throwing subliminals at Big Sean's way, Drake's way, he's been throwing those, And Joe Biden was one of the people to say, nigga, that nigga was saying this to you. And he's like, nah, if you were saying that to me, I was gonna man up and like reply to that, And Joe Biden was like nothing. So yeah, that happened. And now he was saying also, like, the same answer he gave on the Joe Biden interview, he said it to this journalist to say, like, if that was the case, I was gonna also retaliate and give him a piece of my mind. But I'm saying, the control verse that he had on the song, on your song, you never felt the need to retaliate on that. And shout out to him, and I've always gave props to Big Sean because of what he did in the control verse. They mad at him, like, for sure, like, that's in the books, you know, like, they mad at everybody. And Jay Electronica was on that song too, and nobody's talking about that. Like, fucking Kendrick, Jay Electronica was in there, but nobody noticed. And I'm like, that's how deep, or like, how this thing, dog, like, how, you know, like, not to be noticed in your own song. And Jay Electronica was a visitor in that shit. Like, he was a visitor. He came through, he never said shit, gave him a plate of shit, and he left with it. Never heard of him again. He was being given there. And I'm like, snap. You know, like, he had like a dope verse, he had an amazing run. So I'm like, shout out to Big Sean, because if he didn't at least have the balls to release that, we would have never had the control verse from Kendrick Lamar. So shout out to him, you know, giving him props. And I'm like, if he couldn't respond to that verse, what makes us think, Ubuti, or what I convince us as to why we need to believe that you're gonna reply to him if that verse or the diss track that was leaked is not true. And I hope Ubuti it's true, so he can release, so we can have the hip-hop game again. I'm tired of what's happening. So, you know, we can have the real music, so we can have the proper stuff, so we can have that. We fuck with the fucking with we like the pushing P verses, but sometimes you need the strong stuff, the whiskey, you know. It's good to have champagne but you know, like, we need the regular champagne on the rocks. You know what I mean? We need that every now and again. You know, like, if Big Sean was to respond, man, maybe that might say something. Yeah, I mean, you know, you need that verse, man. I need that verse myself, man. And it's just a pity that he says it's AI. I don't know how true it is, but it would have been dope to get everybody to reply on that, you know. I know, like, Kendrick and Drake are still going at it. They're still not talking, you know. And I hope that, I think J. Cole and Kendrick are talking. I don't know if they ever had beef or anything, but I don't think they have. So I think they might be still talking. So yeah, that's my take on that, you know, on that. So I don't know what you think. Do let me know what you think on the comment section, and I will make sure to reply back on your messages, guys. So speaking about all the beefs and everything, and, you know, I want us to kind of move away from that and speak about my Orange GP. He was being interviewed and was talking about his entire experience, about his leg amputation, and it's a touching story. For those of you who want to listen to that interview, they must go and check out Skin GP with my Orange, that interview they had, and he was talking. So he was saying, like, he went even on the depths, like corner, like in the belly of all witches, the greatest witches, and even they couldn't assist him. You know. The last one, traditional doctor, not witches, traditional doctor, like, in the belly, like the hearts of, like, my boy, like the real thing, bro. Like, he failed to get even assistance, you know. And they said to him, if he doesn't amputate, obviously he'll die. So he's like, bro, I went those lengths, nobody would help him. Instead, what happened is that even the traditional doctor, he was the one alongside my friend who booked an appointment in the doctors. And when I got there, that guy was drinking with Black Label. And when I got there, put me in the car. They took me out to to the doctor, where I got my leg amputated. He was like, there's nothing they could do, bro. Like, it was destined to happen. I was like, yo, imagine, bro, like, having your leg amputated, but he's still surviving. He looks good. He's like, bro, I had money. It was just releasing for people to go there, to pay this, to pay that. I had that, but I couldn't receive any help. So I took it off. Now I think he has a prosthetic leg, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, like I felt like that has to be discussed. I don't know, like what does the angle behind discussing this story of No Orange, but we did talk about it. So I want us to speak about Pravin Gordhan. I'm just is it speed bumping or speed crossing every topic at this point, because I'm looking at the time. We have like 3 minutes left. So Pravin Gordhan doesn't want to show up, doesn't want to show Parliament documents revealing how SAA ended up being sold for 50 rands instead of imposing sanctions and making his account instead of posing sanctions and making him accountable. Cyril Ramaphosa is appealing to him. As you show, you still want the ANC. So people will ask you, are you still sure if you want ANC in the highest administration office? Then do not vote for ANC in the 2024 general elections. And I'm like, a lot is happening, and even like what we're about to talk about next, I think it's interlinked to this, which was the move of filing the genocide case with the ICC, the International Criminal Court, necessary though? Was it a move? Because nobody saw that or foresaw. Can I say foresaw? Yeah, right. What English is that? Foreseen. Like nobody has foreseen. Like nobody had, cited. Has started like foresighted. Foreseen. I don't know what the right term is. The fact that ANC could take that move and go and file the genocide case against Israel. Nobody. I don't know if it's a move to get voters or to say people. I don't know if that's a move, and because I know America is not a part of like the ICC, but they make decisions that rule there. And even NALEDI PHANDO, shout out to NALEDI PHANDO, he even came out to say like, okay, we saw what happened in Ukraine. People were dying, and you guys were saying, no, we shouldn't support A, B, and C, put him A, B, and C. But now the same thing is happening in Gaza, and you guys are not in support of Palestine. Instead, you are in support of Israel. Like, what's going on here? Like, interest, benefit, like, why? He was saying what it's international hypocrisy, just to put it in simple terms. I'm wasting time with it. It's, hypocrisy that, we say on an international level that, the US is saying what's the same thing that happened in Ukraine. She was basically saying what's the same way you viewed what was happening in Ukraine. You should use the same lens or like the same perspective to look at what's happening in Gaza, and be in support for Palestine, but it's the opposite. So like it's international hypocrisy. And as a minister of foreign affairs, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's like, no, we won't support those guys. We are standing, and it seems like a firm decision that they took incongruently together. So they took together, because the same time that came out, a video by NALEDI PHANDO also came out. So I was like, okay, meaning this thing they actually discussed it upon, and so yeah, that's my take on that. So I think some of these things we'll have to cover them when we come back. So I'll just move right along to the book of the day. For those of you who's been reading the book of the day. So the book of the day, wait for me a bit. The book of the day is The Psychology of Money. I don't know if we've had this book of the day before, but it is the book of the day for those of you who are wondering. So I'm trying to look at the author, who the author is of this book, but I'm not reading, guys. So yeah, I know I'm reading. It's Morgan Housel. So it's Morgan Housel. The book is rating 4.4 out of 5 in Goodread, 5.5 at Take A Lot, 5 over 5 on Take A Lot, 5 over 5 on Readers Welfare. 96% of Google users liked it. 96% of Google users liked it. So I take it and conclude which it's a good book, given that 96 and good rate is 4.45 out of 5 out of 5. So generally it seems like a good book, a good read. I myself am going to, get this book today as we speak. I'm going to make arrangements to get this book and start to read, and probably give you a glimpse or a review about this book when I'm done reading it. So starting the year on a high note, man. I appreciate you listening to the podcast. Let's meet later on. I'm your host, the most SAA, Board, aka Shoot Your Shot, and don't forget to follow, like, and rate the episode to get a notification for each and every time we drop a new episode. Let's meet later on. Cheers.